you wonderful people. I'm Lisa, and this is Living Life with Lisa. And I decided that I want to do some more storytelling because I have to say my life has been very blessed in that I have gotten a chance to do some wonderful things throughout my life, and I want to do some storytelling and probably I probably will limit it to once a week. Um, I'm trying to do more daily vlogging. It's not coming out daily. It's coming out like every other day. But I'm doing my best. Right now, while the boys are home, I have to wait till they go to bed, and then I do it late at night. Once they go back to school, I can do it during the day. Do a little better. But I want to start doing some stories, and because I've got to do, like I said, do some amazing things, I think. And that's part of living life with no regrets. When I had a chance to do things, I did it. And that's the reason that I am allowing my oldest, his school social studies class is going to Peru, and I'm doing everything I can to send him because those are once in a lifetime things. He's going to go see the Incas because and when they go through, they'll be one of the last groups to go through and see it because they're going to shut it down permanently because between people and weather and things like that, it's being ruined, and so he'll be one of the last people to ever see that ancient civilizations things. So you can't pass those things up. You've got to take advantage of those things when you get the chance. And the story I'm going to tell today is about when I got to perform in the Pan American Games in 1987 and the opening ceremonies, and they were put on by Disney. It was unbelievable. I learned so much about the Disney Corporation while we were doing it. The Pan American Games are the Americas. It's like the mini Olympics. It's just the Americas that have the games, and instead of being worldwide, it's just the Americas. And so, the Pan American Games that took place in '87 were held in Indianapolis, Indiana. And so, I was given a chance to dance in the opening ceremonies, and we had to go down there a week before the performance, and we would go out and we spent all day practicing. And the thing was, we went out to the 500 track because that's where the opening ceremonies were taking place. And the first dance I did, the first thing I did was we went out in these old-fashioned dresses and with that balloons off, and then the second one we represented Trinidad, and we had these headpieces that went all the way up real high, and they were real flamboyant and colorful, and we did a Trinidad dance as we went down the track. And so those were the two things that I did for the opening ceremonies. So anyway, so the first thing was the balloon thing, and so I always lined up on Ari Lyondike's pit, and I always lined up with the first letter of his name. His first name, that was my spot. And so I always knew where to go because I was right next to the first letter of Ari Lyondike's name on his pit. And so, thinking that I had this problem solved, it never occurred to me the day of the performance that they would cover all that up, and then there would be no names on the pits because they would be covered up. But at any rate, that was kind of tricky right there at the last minute. And it was televised live all across North, South, and Central America. So it was pretty thrilling. But that week we would meet at this, it was Market Square Arena is what it was called at the time. It's not called that anymore. But Market Square Arena was where they played basketball. And so we would meet there, and then we all had to go through metal detectors, and this is back in '87. Um, and then we got on buses, and we were just the performers. We were not the athletes. We were not the important ones. We were just the performers. And we never went to the track, took the same route to get to the track. The buses always took a different route. And we always had police escorts. And I know that was to keep us safe so that nobody could figure out what way we were going and there would be no issues. And so I can only imagine how they were with the athletes. So anyway, so the day came for the performance, and we got there, and they had these tables lined up. And when we got there, they gave us everything we wore. Anything we wore on our head, anything we wore on our body, anything we wore on our feet. They provided everything from head to toe. And we had to wear the Disney stuff. And I'm going to tell you, you watch any Disney movie, you watch any Disney show, nothing happens by accident. They have got that everything choreographed down to the last detail. And so, got our stuff, we changed the first one, went out, did our thing, and then we had to run to the other end of the track and then change into our Trinidad outfits, and then do our Trinidad dance. And it was so cool and so exciting. And there was just, thousands of people doing this. And it was such a cool thing to be a part of. I will try to, probably not right away, but eventually I will link in the descriptions below. It is on YouTube, part of the opening ceremonies. I found it once, and so I'll put it on there. And so anyway, we did that, and that was just really cool. So some years passed, and I went to I was on an airplane, and I was flying out of South Bend, going to I don't know where I was going. I was always going somewhere, probably Washington D.C. or Boston or something. Anyway, there was a lady sitting next to me, and she had a really strong accent, and it was obvious she was not from South Bend originally. And so I said to her, so where are you from? And she said, South Bend. And I said, no, I mean originally. And she said, oh, you would have never heard of my country. And I said, well, try me. And she said, I'm from a little island called Trinidad. And I said, oh, yes, I know Trinidad. I said, and I told her, I said, they have beautiful colors. Everything's colorful and bright and exciting. And she just lit up and said, yes, it's gorgeous. And so we talked about Trinidad on our flight. And, as I talked about yesterday about Hoagie Carmichael and the man with dementia and Hoagie Carmichael's story, it's the same thing as, just anything. When you put yourself out there and you do things and you learn things and you experience things, you don't know whose life you're going to touch at some other point because, it made both our days. When she was so embarrassed to say she was from Trinidad because she thought nobody had ever heard of it. And then to actually have somebody sitting next to her that knew what she was talking about, she was excited to talk about her home country. And I was excited to talk to somebody actually from the country that I represented in the Pan American Games. That's just one of the many things that I have gotten to do, and I hope you enjoyed this story. It feels a little anticlimactic right now, but that was just one of the things that I got to do, and it was probably one of the most exciting things that I had done, just because how many people do you know get to perform in opening ceremonies of anything? And that was something that I got to do and something I got to experience, and I wouldn't trade trade that time for anything because it was so much fun. I got to go down there. I stayed with a college friend for the whole time I was down there. She lived in Indy. We videotaped because we had VCRs then because we were all, you know, up and coming people. all of all of 22. Um, so we had VCRs that actually recorded things and things like that. And so she had recorded it, and so that night we went home and had popcorn and we watched the opening ceremonies, and so it was just really fun and really exciting. And I remember that now when my kids watch Disney or I see Disney stuff, and I know the planning that went into everything that they do, and how particularly they are about everything, down to the shoelaces on your shoes. It's just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. And so, hope you enjoyed the story, and we will see you later. Remember to live life to the fullest and live life with no regrets, and we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.